The latest IPSOS New Zealand Issues Survey is out, and not surprisingly, we are most worried about the cost of living. The top 5 issues are inflation, 59%, healthcare, the economy, housing, and lastly, crime. Other key issues highlighted by the survey included unemployment, poverty, and climate change. When it comes to who we trust to manage these things, National and Labor scored equally on the economy, National also claiming law and order, while Labor picked up the rest, housing, healthcare and inflation. So let's take a look at those results a little closer now. Jamie Ensor, senior journalist at the Herald, who had the numbers first this morning. Jamie, good morning.
Good morning, Ron.
So it's actually, it's bad news for National in the sense that they should be doing better, but they are actually coming up on some of those key issues compared to the previous survey, right?
Yeah, that's right. On several of those top issues, National is gaining some ground, closing the gap with the Labor Party. Labor is out ahead on cost of living, which, as you mentioned, is the biggest issue for New Zealanders. But in the last survey, which was back in October, there was about a 12-point gap between the two major parties. That's narrowed down to about 7 points. So National is finding its way, is getting some progress. But yeah, National doesn't want to be in this space at the start of an election year for, rightly or wrongly, it presents itself as the party of the economy, and there are some positive economic signs at the moment with low interest rates and rising business confidence. So the fact that it hasn't been able to turn that into a winning message, it hasn't been able to surpass the Labor Party, might suggest that there's maybe a lack of confidence, a lack of trust by New Zealanders in the people selling that message within the National Party. So they'll be happy with gaining some ground, but they don't want to be behind Labor.
It's interesting, isn't it? Especially with inflation, because inflation was higher under Labor, it started under Labor, interest rates were higher under Labor. Do you think voters, why do you think they are making these decisions about who they trust more? Or do you think they actually know, people aren't stupid, that it's the Reserve Bank that does most of the work on inflation anyway?
100%. It's the Reserve Bank that is the one that's meant to react to inflation. It changes the OCR. I think people just felt a bit uncomfortable in the second half of last year with all the talk of the Trump tariffs. There was a slump in business confidence, and so it probably became more of an anti-government vote rather than a pro-Labor vote. And I do think there is a bit of a warning sign here for the Labor Party. With National gaining some ground, it does show that they are going to actually need to put out some policy. They've said that they aren't going to be doing anything that's got any fiscals until after the budget. But some of these races are pretty close, on cost of living, on the economy. National and Labor are tied on these results. So there's some appetite for voters to hear some fresh ideas, and so far the Labor Party hasn't put out many.